what you understand is kids are going to do things. They're going to do things. And the discipline is not supposed to turn them off. Okay. It's supposed to shape them and push them in the right direction. That's what discipline is for. Discipline is not to remove you from the school so we don't have to deal with you no more and you won't be back here for 6 weeks. And I think that happens too often. The discipline is supposed to reinforce the learning. And I think that if we had more black male teachers who were there to oversee and deal with those discipline problems, well, then perhaps we wouldn't see so many young black boys, young black girls going to the principal's office, being suspended, in school suspension, things like that, because they would interpret it differently. Am I wrong on that? What do you think? Am I wrong on that? What do you think? Now, I did see a video going back to last year of a black teacher who called in a police officer who happened to be white. And this police officer, in my opinion, assaulted a young sister, a young black student, because she wouldn't get out of her chair. And that was a black teacher. So, nothing is absolute. So generally speaking, I just think it would be good for the teachers. It would be good for the institution. It would be good for black students if they saw more black male representation. So how do we do that? I mean, do we push to increase the wages of teachers? I don't even know how you would do something like that. How do we begin this push? I'd love to hear it. I would love to hear it. Because for whatever reason, it appears that being an educator for a lot of black males is just not that attractive. And I'll be honest with you, working with children, that's a very, very, very difficult job. And it's not the children, it's the adults. That's what's so hard about it. It's not the kids, it's the adults. Rhonda writes, this is true. Think about it. If you do not see black males in that role, then you do not have that role model to encourage you to follow suit. Lady writes, Nathan, is true, and it's a major problem. Our black men are doing a disservice for our boys when they are not helping our children. We have white men from Elder, Xavier, and corporate companies tutoring our black boys. I got no problem with them, and hey, respect to those corporate entities that do it. I've seen it firsthand. I respect it. I really do. I'm just saying, okay, is it a racial thing? Is it a cultural thing? Why is it, if it's true? Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking about a new study that purports to conclude that only 2% of all public school teachers are black males. And since we've heard so many things about the school to prison pipeline, is that a factor in the school to prison pipeline? The fact that we don't have enough black males there, right? To interdict, to come in between that, to say, listen, we're going to try another way to put the arms around kids. I don't know. I've worked with black educators who went above and beyond, taking kids home when they shouldn't be, giving kids money, books, clothes. I mean, going beyond the educator role. And that's what it takes in these days and times. But my question is, does anybody have a handle on how we can do better, how we can push that forward even more? How do we encourage more black males to become teachers? Is that something that's even worth our time? Is that something that's even worth our time? And there are plenty of black mentors out there. We need more. We need more. The second part about it is not everybody's built to be a kid person. Not everybody is built to work with children, and I can understand and respect that. I get it. But at 2%, if that's true, man, that means that there is a tremendous gap. Tremendous gap. Like, my daughter has never had a black male teacher. My daughter had a black female teacher for about 2 or 3 months. She loved it. And then her teacher, and we were so mad at her, she got pregnant. Had to take maternity leave. I was pissed. And then she finally got a black female teacher. I wanted my daughter to see that. I wanted her to see a black female as a role model. And hey, don't hate me on this. I'm just keeping real with you. If I can't be honest on the internet, where can I be honest? Being honest with you, as a black male, I wanted my daughter to see that. I wanted him to see a black female in that role. That's powerful. Potentially, especially for a little girl, a little black girl, a little brown girl. Man, that's powerful. And she went on maternity leave. I was pissed. Wear a damn condom. And I'm not saying anything negative about the teacher that came in. I think we had a couple issues. No, she was cool. For the most part, she was cool. But, it's possible for our kids to go from K through 12 and never have a black educator. That's sad. That really is sad. And I'm at a wash. I'm open as to what we can do to kind of change that trend. What's being said here? Mike writes, black males do mentor our boys. Just because the media doesn't cover it, it doesn't mean it's not true. Very true, Mike. I've seen it myself. But we need more. We need more. Brent writes, who is responsible for hiring them, Nate? It's a good question. Teachers union, educators, if you want to make your local CPS. I don't know if the hiring is the problem. Maybe the vetting is the problem. Maybe we just don't have a lot of black males who are going to college to be educators, right? To want to work with children. Maybe it's a gender thing. I don't know. I'm open to it. When I was younger, I remember having, I think I had one black male teacher my entire life. His name was Mr. Bradshaw. And that was many years ago. I was at the school for creative and performing arts, like 3rd grade, 4th grade. Mr. Bradshaw. He was cool. He was racially biased or gender biased, though. I'll tell you that story later. He gave me a swap, but he didn't give the next girl a swap because I forgot my homework. I'll never get over that, Mr. Bradshaw. But, kids need to see. They need to see reinforcement of who they are, of their parents. Corey writes, you can't hire them if they don't want to be teachers. Right. Right. Brent writes, have our own schools. Okay, I'm down with that. I know Dr. Umar Johnson's he's trying to something like that, very similar. I know Deion Sanders, he started his own Sanders Academy, something like that. That's great. I respect it. Takes a lot of money. If somebody came to you and said, look, we're creating a new school, okay, it's going to be black owned, and we want you to put some money into the pot. Would you put some money into the pot? Maybe. I was at a New Prospect Baptist Church last year. I saw Dr. Umar Johnson. I left early because he was screaming in the damn mic and blowing my eardrums out. And I work every day. At that point, I was working every day at my old job. And I got to put headphones on. I had to protect my hearing. And then secondly, I had to get home. But I wanted to stay because he was saying, look, after his speech, he was asking people to sign up. And I just wanted to know how many people were going to actually sign up. I mean, so if somebody prominent steps forward and says, look, we're going to start a school, but I need your support. Are we going to support them? Mike says, I went to SCP also. Yeah, what's up, Mike? Oh, Keena writes, yes, I love Mr. Bradshaw. I went to that school also. Is that right? We might have been in the same class. Mr. Bradshaw. My mother was in love with Mr. Bradshaw. He used to piss me off. Mr. Bradshaw. The hell with Mr. Bradshaw. He ain't my daddy. Shout out to Mr. Bradshaw from the School for Creative and Performing Arts. Man. Jericho writes, LOL, Umar does scream a lot. He does. I was going to tell him, like, man, you killing me. I'm in the front row. These big speakers out there, you are killing me, man. Why are you screaming? But I get it. It's a device that people use when they're on stage, when they command your attention. I get it. And I thought he was a great speaker. I had a lot of fun. Didn't agree with everything he said, but I had a lot of fun just being out there and getting to see him firsthand. It was very, very interesting. And he had the fresh Nikes on. I got to be honest with you, Dr. Umar, if you're listening, you can't tell people to not be into commercialism and then you got some fresh, brand new white Air Force Ones. All I'm saying. Keena writes, yes, I graduated in 1989. He was a smooth dude. All mothers loved him. Yeah. You said you graduated in 89. I might have graduated in 89 if I didn't fail 3 times. Yeah. So we might have been in the same class, Keena. That is wild. That is wild, man. That's interesting. Mr. Bradshaw. I would go into my Bradshaw story, but I'm not going to bore you with it. I want to talk about what's going on right now. And there's a lot of stuff going on. If you have any kind of Apple product, I want to know, do you support the folks at Apple or do you support the Justice Department? They are asking Apple to write a brand new code that will override the security feature on your device. As I understand it, currently, the security feature works like this. You got to have a passcode. I believe it's 5 digits, 5 or 6 digits. And if you type in the wrong code, then what will happen? The device will start to shut down. If you type it in too much, it could erase. And they do that as a security protocol so that these sickos, these folks that like to peep, like with Aaron Andrews and whatnot, they can't get your information and put it all on the internet or buy a bunch of stuff and put it in your name. Okay, I get it. So now the government is saying, we want you to write a code that will allow us to put in as many passwords as we want until we get the right one. So it sounds like they're going to run some kind of lock breaking code that'll just keep trying different codes randomly using the supercomputers until they find the right one. The problem is that Apple is saying is once we create this, and they're claiming they've never created this code for security reasons, they're saying once we create it and it's out there, the government will have the ability to basically get into anybody's phone. Okay, that's one side of it. On the other side is national security. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm going to the grocery store or perhaps let's say I go to a bingo game, I don't want to interrupt it by some terrorist event. I don't want to be the victim of a terrorist attack. I didn't do anything to Al-Qaeda. I don't have no beef with these individuals that got a beef with our U.S. foreign policy, so I don't want to bear the brunt of it. I know you don't either, do you? I don't want to get a call from my wife saying, look, something happened and it was terrorism. I don't want to hear that. And if breaking this encryption code can prevent it, then why not? Why not? So there's merit to both sides. But, you know, for me, and I've been this way for many years, when it's close, I got to side with civil liberties and the people. When it's close, I got to side with civil liberties and the people. I do. And the government is saying that they may be able to get some advanced information if they can break into the iPhone of the so-called terrorists in San Bernardino. Now think about that. The federal government, the Justice Department, can't break into the iPhone. That's deep. That's hell of a security. Because I would imagine with the supercomputers and all of their resources and very, very smart individuals, all the Doogie Housers and Brainiacs, that there's a lot of, we'll say, barriers, locks that mean nothing to the United States government. Okay? But the iPhone, I mean, that is some security for you. And if you own an iPhone, I'm sure that gives you some security knowing that somebody can't just break into your phone because the Justice Department can't even do it. So just keep your eyes on that. I'll keep my eyes on it. As information comes out, I'll give you more about it. As it stands right now, with all the available information that I have, I got to stand with the Apple folks. Before we leave, though, I want to talk a little bit of local news. I'm broadcasting live from the city of Cincinnati. And so each and every day we will talk about local issues. I have been lining up guests starting next week. That's right. Happy to say that. The show is growing. My capabilities are growing. And I've got a plethora of folks who will hear on this platform starting next week. And I'll tell you all about it tomorrow at 7 a.m. But I'm reading that Cincinnati City Councilman Christopher Smitherman is set to introduce a motion today. He's going to be asking that a portion of the Central Parkway bikeway be removed. And apparently it's causing some issues for business owners down there. And he's saying that they want to remove the bike lane between the 1600 block and the 2000 block of Central Parkway. It's about a half a mile between Liberty Street North to where Central Avenue intersects Central Parkway. I'm sure if you live in Cincinnati or live and play and work, that may be familiar to you. I like the idea of the bike trail. We need more of that for numerous reasons. Number one, you got to do something to work off the chili and the graters and the ice cream. You got to do something to work that off. Number two, you know, the less cars we have out there, that means less pollution. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. And I think it's kind of fly. I mean, Cincinnati needs to be updated. We need to have multiple avenues for transit. If you want to drive, you can drive. If you want to get on the bus, you can get the bus. If you want to get on the train, you can get on the train. If you want to get your bike out and bike to work or bike downtown, you should be able to do that. And we need bike lanes because some of these people in Cincinnati will hit you and keep going. Hit you and keep going. You know, I've heard of people getting smashed by bikes laying up in the hospital. And the people just keep on going. So clearly something needs to be done.